Hey, thanks for tuning in again to Hawkeye Nation TV. In this week's Iowa football prediction, the Hawkeyes go up against Louisiana-Monroe. And before we look forward, we've got to look back a little bit about Iowa's win last week against Pitt. I will tell you this, I was not optimistic when Iowa was down, 24-3 at one point in time late in that third quarter. The Hawkeyes got it rolling. They got it rolling with a no-huddle offense, and that's been a lot of topics of conversation this week on HawkeyeNation.com, Twitter, cafes, barbershops, wherever it is that you talk Hawkeyes. It's been a big topic, and understandably so, because the Iowa offense looked pretty darn potent at that point in time. The last 16 minutes, Iowa scoring 4 touchdowns in that span. James Vandenberg made every kind of throw possible, really developed and grew up, I think, on this day. And I think the toothpaste is out of the proverbial tube right about now. I don't know that Iowa can go back to just being a pro set formation, pound, 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 pound. Obviously, Iowa does throw the football and has through the years, and they like to be balanced. But this year, like other years, teams are going to sell out to stop the run. But unlike other years, Iowa has weapons on the outside at wide receiver that they have seldom had in Keenan Davis and Marvin McNutt and Cavante Martin Manley, who stepped up huge against Pittsburgh. Iowa has to take advantage of what the defense gives them, something I didn't feel they did against Iowa State, something they did better late than never against Pitt. Kirk Ferentz saying this week that don't expect Iowa to come out and go guns blazing. He didn't say it exactly like that. I don't expect them to, and they don't have to. Run the no-huddle type situation about 2 or 3 times a game. Keep the defense honest. Make Penn State have more preparations to look for in a couple of weeks when Iowa goes to Happy Valley. It makes it more difficult for the opposing defenses to spend as much time on the same things when you do different things. You can also run the ball out of a shotgun offense, and Iowa did some of that. They did some shotgun draws with Marcus Coker. That also slows down a defense and keeps them honest. So I've been saying for years that you can run the ball out of spread formations. I'm not saying a spread offense, but you can run the football out of spread formations, because if you get 4 wide receivers out there, linebackers have to walk farther out of the box, then it's 5-on-5 or 5-on-6, and that's a lot easier to manage. Louisiana-Monroe team returns 19 starters. They are I don't want to say a dangerous offense, but a unique look offense. They'll do some spread, but their quarterback, as a freshman last season, threw for 2,500 yards, 18 touchdowns, and they returned most all of their offensive production, as you might imagine, with 19 returning starters. They lost 34-0 to Florida State in week 1 of this season. They beat Grambling State in week 2, and then in week 3 last week, they lost to TCU. They were down by just 4 points at halftime. Then TCU returned the opening kick of the second half for a touchdown. Also scored on a short porch. This is again, I don't want to overstate this. It's not a dangerous team, if you will, but they think they can come into Kinnick Stadium and win the football game. They've been to Florida State. They've been to TCU. Kinnick Stadium is not going to put them in awe, really, of anything. So they're not going to be daunted by that, although I think the noise at Kinnick Stadium is better than the other 2 places that we've talked about thus far. And I think the Iowa Hawkeyes, really, in this game, the man in the mirror is the most dangerous opponent. Don't commit turnovers. Come out and execute early. Special teams continue to play well. Eric Guthrie having a great season as Iowa's punter. On defense, Louisiana-Monroe runs a 3-down line set with 3 linebacker-ish type players and then 5 defensive backs, a little bit of a 3-3-5. You saw that last year from Michigan. I think Iowa is going to want to come out and try to run the football. I don't think that's going to change at all from week to week, any week of the year. I think Iowa will have some success. I don't know that it'll be a pretty game. It doesn't have to be. Get to the bye week 3-1, and then evaluate your own foibles. This is who we are in defense. This is who we are in offense. And then you go forward, pedal to the metal. And this staff, September is a research and development month to find out who you are. I don't know that we're going to get all of those answers Saturday against Louisiana-Monroe, but it'll be one step closer. Iowa wins 31-17. And want to say thank you again to Hummel's Nissan of Des Moines for sponsoring these segments. Loving the 2 Nissans we have in our house. Been a multi-Nissan owner, not just these 2, but also had an Altima before I got my new Altima, so that's 2 Altimas in a row because I love those cars. And thanks again to Hummel's Nissan for sponsoring Hawkeye Nation TV.